Welcome to this week's CodeFreeks. We are your hosts, Matt
and Josh.
We are the only official Cheat Code Central podcast that's out there, so enjoy it. This week has been a very trying week for some more than others.
Very, very long hours this week. A lot of time spent perusing the game world news and watching live casts and all kinds of craziness.
Right, we had a lot of information given to us. A lot of it felt like in one fell swoop or in a kicking motion, but we'll get to all of that here in a few minutes. So obviously Microsoft went first on Monday.
They led off E3.
Which is technically not the start of E3. You know, technically the start of E3 for everybody was Tuesday. Microsoft and Sony decided to go well before that, as did EA and Ubisoft.
Yep.
We also had an event that was live on the site on this past Sunday for Call of Duty Ghosts. We'll get into all of that as we move forward. So the first thing that Microsoft did during their event was show off that Metal Gear Solid 5 is going to be on the Xbox One.
Yeah, that led off all of the E3 craziness. That was the first thing we saw right at the beginning of Microsoft's event. Rolled straight into that video. And that was good news. It's great.
Yeah, it's good that it's going to be multi-platform. As I've gotten older, I have decided that more and more, there's really no point to exclusivity. I mean, having exclusives is fine and all that, but you know, I think everybody should have the opportunity to check out any game that they want to check out. And this one actually looks like Metal Gear Solid could be doing really well on the Xbox One when it comes out. They showed off, we got to hear Kiefer Sutherland voice the big boss. I refuse to call him Snake.
Yeah, it's fine.
We also discovered that Ocelot is going to be in this one.
Yeah, voiced by Troy Baker,
who has become the new Nolan North whore. So, which is all fine. You know, he was Joel in The Last of Us that many of you are discovering today, or have during.
Or if you're not, you should be right now.
Wait till we're done.
After the podcast.
Yeah. When we're done, go play. Before that. You know. But they showed off some really cool stuff in Metal Gear Solid 5. Like, the fact that it's going to be open world.
Yes. Which has never happened in a Metal Gear game before.
And maybe rightfully so. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see.
It's all about the abilities of the new systems, I think. So, yeah.
Right. So, I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot more open world stuff. From the new consoles, but
there's others, but we'll get to those. But yeah, it's kind of it seems like a trend.
Yeah,
with a lot of the games. So,
and I know that they showed off probably one of the things. I mean, you know, having the open world is fine and everything, but you know, in the vehicle transportation and stuff like that,
you can ride horses,
which
you can stealth on horses. Apparently, you can hide on the side of your horse.
I don't know
where. New generation of stealth.
It's also a new generation of idiotic AI. Like, I mean, I think it's a cool idea and all, but in a real world situation, if you saw a horse that was completely saddled and bridled and all this and that.
What's the horse doing over there?
I know. Let's go check that out. You know.
Yeah, I don't think.
Does that look like a foot?
I don't feel like
Snake, penis should be.
Snake could effectively, or anyone for that matter, could effectively hide on the side of a horse entirely.
No, because
and make it do what you want it to do.
Feet in the wrong position. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I know that horse is hung, but come on, you know.
Yeah,
so, I mean, you know, that might not work out the best.
Right.
Much like the new Xbox 360.
Yeah, why do we need a new Xbox 360? We're already getting an Xbox One. We have
this year.
This year, and we have the relaunched Xbox, the Slim
the new Xbox
model.
360.
that has been doing well.
Yeah, it's been doing fine. That's the one that I have, and it's doing great.
I mean, there's no reason. I mean, other than them trying to say, hey, the Xbox 360 looks like a lunchbox, shape and dimensions, then you should be okay with the Xbox One looking
right. Yeah, it's
a VCR.
It's a branding issue, I think.
I think
they just want it to look alike.
Well, okay. But as we have discovered in the past, that making something look like something else is not always a good thing.
Well,
because
especially considering that not really anybody liked the way that the Xbox One looked anyway. I think they were counting on a little bit better reception. Right.
But, now see, when I was initially watching the conference, I was, very opposed to the new Xbox 360. I still am. But I was like, this is stupid. This doesn't make any sense. And then, a colleague reminded me that the PlayStation 2 did the same thing near the end of its, cycle as well. Okay. So, it's just like they had the Slim for the PS2, but that was accompanied with a price cut.
Right. Which they did not announce.
They did not announce the price cut for the Xbox 360. So we're still looking at, what is it, $199 still, or is it $299? I don't know.
It depends on what you get. But I think it is $199 for your 4 gig model, and then your 250 gig Slim. I think it's still $300.
To have like an actual hard drive.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense.
In your sense.
Yeah. 4 gig.
Nice. And that's also not counting the Kinect, but.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whatever. So they went through like a bunch of games that they showed off. I do have to say that the one thing that they did during this conference that I was actually really shocked by, was all the talk about games. Because they kind of got rode down the road really hard.
Yeah,
after they showed the Xbox
reveal.
One, and it was all about TV and Call of Duty and sports, and Halo TV.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were like, what are you going to do at E3? Show us more TV? But they didn't.
They didn't. Yeah, I will. Yeah, they did that right.
Yeah. Except they did have this one segment that wasn't about TV, sports, or Call of Duty. But it was about smart glass.
Yeah, well, they kind of weaved that in a lot of places.
I mean, they didn't.
They did have one little short segment about smart glass.
They didn't tell you that you're looking at some games with functionality with smart glass. But I think we kind of expected that.
Yeah.
What with the Vita functionality in the PS4, the Wii U gamepad. I mean, it was inevitable. In all honesty.
The iPad coming from PlayStation.
Yeah. Pad.
Pad.
Yeah, sweet. But they did show off some games.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff.
Kind of cool about, not really about exclusivity. Specifically Dead Rising 3, which looked great.
Looked great. That
I think
right
that's
now is probably
that's
why I'll own. That's why I'll own one. Yeah, right now.
Yeah, right now. I think it's also one of the only trailers where they showed off somewhat what the Xbox One could do. All those zombies on there.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous amount of zombies. Ridiculous amount of enemies on screen.
Yeah.
And then draw distance and just world details in general.
Right, and I think that was one of the reasons why I got pissed that it's not coming to the PS4 too. But
there'll be good stuff there too.
Yeah, but but it wasn't the only game that showed off massive amounts of enemies on screen.
No.
There was another game that they showed off for the Xbox One that showed a lot of enemies, but it didn't have any substance.
Are we talking about Rise?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about Rise. It looks visually good.
Right. It does
as
look
it should.
Good, right. But that's going to be expected on everything.
But what's up with all the quick times?
I know. That's more than God of War.
And that's a lot.
Like more than God of War. More than sexy time in God of War. I mean, that's horrible. I know. Circle, finish! But it was like every time, like, you would engage an enemy. Quick time event.
B-A.
Yeah. I mean, why?
Why?
Exactly. And I think, a lot of people were talking about how the character moved. you know, and how it felt like the character moved more like Elder Scrolls Oblivion character in third person view.
Yeah. Well, maybe not quite that bad, because that's pretty bad. That game was not meant to be played in third person. Not. That was an afterthought.
I don't think any Bethesda game is supposed to be played in third person. But
Elder Scrolls 5 did a lot better. But
still.
But one thing I will say about Rise, to be fair and balanced, is I liked the mechanic where you get to play as the unit.
Yes.
You get to do...
That does look pretty cool.
The phalanx and things like that.
At least that was not a quick time.
That was not a quick time event. But it wasn't... I don't think it was enough. I think that game will do fine when it comes out, and then it'll be the one that starts dropping in price pretty dramatically. And then it'll be that first one that's like...
like Lair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah.
Lair was actually good, though.
Well, Rise might be good. We haven't played it yet. I mean, you don't count it out.
Oh.
But wasn't it originally supposed to be like a Connect thing?
Like
too?
2 years ago,
yeah.
It was announced, like, almost like the basic beginning of that trailer was like, I've heard this before. I've heard all of this before. This is all familiar. Yeah. So, speaking of familiarity, really excited. Killer Instinct.
Yes.
Not so much excited. You get one character when you buy the game.
I don't get this model. I don't get this business model.
What the hell does that mean? Like, I mean, I know.
Did they announce which character it was?
No.
So you don't even know who.
This is a grab bag of characters.
Yeah.
You know, you buy the game.
It's a random thing.
Yeah. You buy the character. And you're like, oh, come on, Cyberwolf. Who the hell is that? I don't even know who that is. And I've actually been told now it's 2 characters.
What?
It's free to play. Download now.
What is?
Our tech guy has just informed us that it's free to download. Killer Instinct will be free to download, but you have to pay for the other characters.
Oh, well, that makes more sense. At least.
It makes more sense.
Instead of paying $60 for a game and then having one character to play as, so
it's still.
Well, that's an interesting.
Still bullshit.
Yeah, I don't like it. Just give me a damn game.
Yeah.
I want to do ultra combos
and then they tricked us, showed us a Halo thing.
I thought the Halo preview or whatever you want to call it was really cool. The Halo thing. Let's call it the Halo.
Because
it wasn't an announcement.
The internet exploded. It's like Halo 5,
nope.
And it wasn't Halo 5. It wasn't.
It just said Halo.
It wasn't anything. It was just Halo. It's like, look. There's a cast member from Doom, or, you know...
But I thought the trailer was really cool, because you had no idea what it was. Until you had an inkling if you haven't seen the trailer, it's on the site, check it out. But, you know, when you turn his hand over, you know...
Yeah.
You kind of see maybe...
saw what that was, but then when the name of the guys that pop up, and Halo 4. The thing that popped out of the sand looks very much like that.
Yes, very much so.
And then, of course, the dead giveaway was when he lifted the hood. Forerunners, that's it. And he lifted the hood,
the hood was blown off. Yeah.
It
was a hood. It was
like a lot of cloth
like
there
a
for that to be a hood.
It just blew off. It looked like he was wrapped in a burlap sack, is what he looked like.
Several burlap sacks. But that tells you about the detail. So,
it looked good. It was clever. It hit Master Chief until the end there, and then got real dramatic.
Even then, they didn't. Afterwards, they talked about the Halo TV show. They didn't talk about Halo 5.
Right.
They talked about how obviously Xbox One is going to be the only place that you're going to have the Halo experience.
Right.
Who didn't see that coming?
No.
Much like Titanfall. Because I know you're more about that game than I am.
Yeah, well, Titanfall, I think, is a game that's going to have a place in the market. Because it's different. It's not entirely different. Obviously, it's a first-person shooter.
With Transformers.
Right. With Transformers that you can get into that pick you up lovingly and plant you into their chest.
You know, they're like,
come with me. Shoot
love
everybody.
You. Love you.
But the game itself didn't look... It looks good. I don't want to say it doesn't, because it does.
Yeah, of course it does. It's also from Respawn.
It's from Respawn, same guys that
started the Call of Duty
the whole
evolution,
with the whole lawsuit thing and everything too. Yeah. But Respawn Entertainment's doing that, and the game looks really cool because it's different. You're playing first person. You're playing in the mechs, and you have the ability to switch between the two. You can jump on the back of mechs, shoot them in the head, and all kinds of crazy stuff, which looks cool.
It looks to be like a really
graphically,
cool stuff.
From what was shown, didn't look as impressive as other things we saw.
Right.
Which is my only issue with it. It's not really an issue because I think they can't go too far with the graphics because it's coming out on current generation hardware. I think it's part of the problem.
We'll hope that's what it is.
Yeah. Because I think it'll look great for an Xbox 360 or a PS3 title.
Well, you say Destiny's also coming out.
That's true.
And the other thing is that Titanfall on current hardware is being developed by somebody totally different.
All right. Well, my point's not really.
So there's your balloon, and I just did pop.
Well,
unfortunately,
so it doesn't.
It
doesn't look as good.
I'm not trying to be that guy, but fact is fact.
That's true.
So
I think the game will be good.
I don't.
Will it be a groundbreaking Call of Duty killer or anything? No.
Halo killer.
Killers. It's not going to unseat anything.
No, I don't see that. I see it getting its own seat. That's what I see.
I wanted to say something.
Go ahead.
Call of Duty killers. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Battlefield 4 looks ridiculous.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. They showed off the commander mode, which I'm glad is back.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is it, 32? I know it's a big, massive 64-player multiplayer.
Yeah, it's 64-player multiplayer on PC. They have not announced what the multiplayer cap will be on the next-gen systems. 64, I hope.
Let's hope, but it's probably a safe bet 16.
Oh, it's a safe bet 16.
Safe bet.
I think that their architecture would support something more.
Let's hope.
Again, fingers crossed. At least 32, I hope.
The trailer was ridiculous.
Yeah,
how much stuff did they show?
In like 5 minutes, everything that could possibly happen to you
in one battle scenario. Yeah. It's like, hey, you're going to get on the boat. Oh, look, you're going to get off a boat. You're going to climb a building. You're going to jump out the building, and you're going to do a parachute. And you're going to shoot. You're going to call in artillery. And when you do that, your friend's going to hop on a tablet and shoot a missile and take somebody down. Oh, and then you're going to be, this is other gameplay footage that they showed. Oh, you're going to be on another boat, and you're going to be airplane sliding.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to shoot out airplane tires.
So that you can take out enemies that are on the deck of this aircraft carrier. And
you can chase the airplane into the ocean if you feel like it.
If you feel like it. Probably not the best of ideas.
Don't recommend it.
But yeah, I mean, that whole... Everything they showed on Battlefield 4, especially like when they first went into that lower deck, that underground room, and all those lights were spinning around, and there was enemies on screen, and everybody was shooting, and there was like papers flying,
and that dude shot
particle effects and smoke everywhere, and I'm like, oh my god.
And then in the parking garage, and they're like, "Oh, look, there's the tank above us, because of the dust trail." And they shot that, and then the tank's like sitting there, like, "Oh my god, where am I going?" And they're like, dunk, and boom, and I'm like, "Oh wow, that's great!"
And you can blow out the floor underneath something.
I mean, it's
granted that tank wasn't very smart for being there. Anyway,
no, but dumbass tank. But even still, that was probably a well-crafted scenario where everything was put together.
Yeah, absolutely.
But still, the possibility of all of that happening is astounding.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to speak.
And speaking of astounding, the other game, I'm kind of skipping around on our cheat sheet that we have here.
I started it. I'm sorry.
So it's his fault. The Division. Tom Clancy's The Division.
Now, that was a game that when I saw it, I was like, that's next gen.
Yeah. Because it looked next gen, it flowed like next gen, and then when they were like, oh, and it's MMO.
Yeah. And
people were just filtering in. into the scenarios and all this and that. I'm like,
that was
wow.
Really cool. The functionality of the menus, which I could see some refinement coming for that.
I hope.
But, like, the map thing I thought was really cool. Because when you went to the map and it popped up around you, it didn't take you away from the game like it normally does.
Right.
It kept you
centered
on your
into what was going on, and it made it feel like it was actual real time. Like the stuff that happened in The Last of Us when you're doing crafting.
Yeah. The whole take your backpack off
and take that off.
Your stuff's still going on.
It's still very much like that. And the point that I was already, impressed and wanted to see more, but the point that happened in this game that I was just like, holy crap, was when they shot the tire.
Yeah.
And the tire goes,
in the car,
and the
kind
car
of just settles
shifted.
down.
I know it sounds so
Well, there's
stupid.
so many small things in that video, which, again, check it out. It's on our website. It's on our YouTube. But, like, when he's moving along the backside of that car and he just kind of shuts that car door, he takes... it's just...
So, it's all these little things, attention to detail, which is what we talked about last week, was what Naughty Dog did with The Last of Us and all the small stuff. And that was what made that game.
Absolutely.
And I think that The Division, and then some other games that were announced, like Need for Speed Rivals... with the seamless online jumping in and out and stuff like that. I think that this is the next evolution that PC gamers have known for a while as far as MMOs, getting your buddies together and tackling something and stuff like that. I believe that's the natural progression in, online multiplayer. Sure, it's great to get on and shoot your buddies in the face. Sure, it's great to get on and face down some other people and stuff like that. But I think this generation has kind of shown that there is a market out there for people to have a common goal. And setting stuff up like this, like The Division did, could be that next step for that next gen. And if that's where we begin, so far, I'm alright with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to play the game.
Right. And I think that one of the big things that they announced, Star Wars Battlefront.
That's the other one that I almost pooped myself over. Yeah. Because, they're talking DICE. Who better to make Star Wars Battlefront than DICE?
True.
After the success of the Battlefield series, I don't think anybody else could have handled it in a way appropriately.
Right.
Yeah.
Or at least be able to be that developer that everybody's like, okay, I want to see what you can do.
Yeah.
Unlike, other developers in the past, we were like, oh, you do this series. Everybody's like, are you kidding me? That's stupid.
Well, they've already got the whole vehicle warfare locked down. DICE knows how to do that and do it right. And all they have to do is come up with the Star Wars scenario and the locations. What I would like to see, though, from the Battlefront game is a defined single-player campaign. Something that was sorely missing from the original Battlefront games. They were there, but they weren't really there. It wasn't like Battlefield has a single-player campaign. Star Wars Battlefront never really had that definitive campaign that you could go through.
And that kind of worries me, especially with a lot of the talks of MMOs and things like that being next gen, that we could be seeing more of that. And Battlefront kind of does lend itself to that model.
It does. I would be fine with that, I think. Just because the Battlefront series has needed a new installation for so long.
Right.
So.
And speaking of games that need a new installment, Mirror's Edge.
Ah, yes, that was announced. Just out of it's like
out of nowhere. You've been asking for this for a little bit, so here you go.
Here, check it out.
And, it didn't show a lot, but later they did announce that Mirror's Edge 2 is going to be open world.
Yes, which that game
kind of deserves to be
definitely.
Open world.
The first one
was phenomenal, and if you have not checked it out, please do.
It's not expensive.
It was like a game that should have been talked about and played a little bit more than what it was. And then it was just kind of forgotten, But we're still on this train of games that people weren't expecting to be announced. I have to say that the little girl inside me just absolutely went bug nuts crazy when they announced Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh yeah.
I was just like it's not that game. Like when they first announced Kingdom Hearts all those years ago, that I was just like, no, that's stupid. Final Fantasy and Disney characters are stupid. And then I played it. I'm like, this is amazing. This is great. And then of course Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, and they had that epilogue at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. It's like, oh my god, I can't wait for Kingdom Hearts 3. And then nothing ever happened.
Yeah, it's been ever.
And what they showed was not much.
Right, but from what they showed, you could tell that the game has actually been in development. It's not like this concept. It's not just a trailer.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say that, yay, it looks pretty. But they ain't been working on shit since.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's been in development all that time.
Yeah, I know.
But you can tell that there's actually effort being put forward to it. And the game itself, everybody knew that was coming. At some point. You knew it was coming.
It's just like we all know that
just
eventually Square Enix is going to say, you know what? We have no more money. We have no way of doing anything. Here's Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
One day.
And then Square Enix will have billions and trillions of dollars, and then they'll start making questionable games again, like Lightning Returns. So
squeeze something else out of the Final Fantasy 13.
Because they even changed the name of Versus 13, which was supposed to come out within a year of 13.
Yeah.
To 15.
Do you know why they did that?
Because they had no other choice.
Because nobody wants anything else Final Fantasy 13. They're like, no more.
Even that sorry phone game that was supposed to come out that was associated with 13, they're like, no, change its name.
Change it to anything.
Change its name. Please do something else. Dragon Age fans will be happy.
Yeah.
Specifically, Morrigan Dragon Age fans.
Yeah, the Inquisition looked
all
awesome.
kinds of hotness.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Dragon Age fan. I like them. But
because you need
what? I'm a BioWare fan, obviously.
Wow, that says a lot.
Well, not entirely a BioWare fan.
I know, right?
I'm not a real big. Never mind.
See, this is what I have to deal with.
Yeah, he gets over it. It does look good. I mean, it looks decidedly next gen as well. I mean, it's just a cool trailer.
Yeah, it was a cool trailer, and I think the big thing is showing that Morrigan is back. I mean, she was definitely a fan favorite character in the first game, and as much as I enjoyed the second game, I was so pissed that all my characters from the first game were nowhere to be found in the next one.
Well, you also kind of, from a company like BioWare that came up with and executed the Mass Effect games,
I know,
you would think that natural progression would be there in a game that has the number 2 behind it.
You would think,
but it didn't happen that way.
You would be wrong.
So I would guess that the Inquisition looks like it's going to be kind of a bridge between the two.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I hope.
Because they really don't. They really didn't say anything.
They don't connect.
It's just a cutscene.
Yeah. That was it. So, there was something that they, at the Sony event, that was shown off. They kind of threw everybody through a loop.
Are you talking about the Dark Sorcerer?
Yeah.
That was like my favorite part.
I figured that you would like to talk about that.
Yeah, as far as the presentations go, that was like my favorite part of the whole thing. Because, they're like, oh yeah, we got this thing to show you. It's not really a game or anything, but... it's pretty cool. It's running on PS4 hardware and all that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool, that's fine.
Yeah.
And it starts off with this, it's, on the website.
A dark sorcerer.
Yeah, a dark sorcerer just, casting a spell on his little orc buddy or whatever you want to call him. And
he's prefer to be called goblin.
Goblin, orc, whatever's politically correct. Yeah. He's green. And then it's just cuts off. Like, oh my god, I missed that line again. I always slip at the wrong time.
I swear I know it. It brought memories back to me about Evil Dead, or specifically Army of Darkness, and how he has to say Klaatu Vrata Niktu. Nice. and he can't get it right. And so, I mean, automatically, you know, for me, that trailer is like, I get it.
Oh, there was a lot. That whole trailer, and the trailer we have on the site and on YouTube is an extended trailer. Oh. It's not it's not just what they showed. Like, it's like 6 minutes long, and it's hilarious.
But I loved the facials.
Oh, yeah.
It shows off the true power
of the system.
And it was just Quantic Dream just playing around.
Yeah.
Like that trailer that before they revealed Beyond Two Souls, where they had the robot being built, was just them playing around. So now
they get to play around on harder or better hardware.
Well, now I anticipate another game being announced by next to E3.
What, by Quantic?
Yep.
I could see
that. I would almost be willing to bet money on that now.
Well, Beyond Two Souls will be out.
Yeah.
Soon enough, so they gotta have something to do.
Well, I mean, it's the way that they show off stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, hey, here's this trailer that we had some fun with, and then all of a sudden that fun idea turns into something else. So maybe the next Quantic Dream game could be something with magic or something like that.
That would be cool.
Pretty cool.
They never went that route before. Guy.
Yeah, could be interesting. Speaking of earlier, I made the kicking motion. Pretty hard.
Yeah, you did.
And so now comes my favorite part of the podcast this week, called Kicking the Junk. First,
who was the kicky? And who was the kicker?
Well, we did not review earlier in the podcast the price point of the Xbox One or the release. Supposedly, it's going to be November of this year.
That's what they say.
For $4.99. Oh. Now, in that package, you will get the VCR box
and the Kinect
2.0 controller. I'm pretty sure you'll get some sort of headset ordeal.
Yeah,
I would assume.
Mic, maybe.
I would assume.
They didn't do all of them. So
maybe an HDMI cord and a power cord, obviously. So you will have that.
For $500?
$500.
US.
Also, you will have to have yourself a Xbox Live membership. Although, if you are currently an Xbox Live member,
will carry over.
It'll transfer over.
Yes.
And from the months of July until the release of the Xbox One, as of right now, you will get 2 free games each month.
Yes. Which was a really cool announcement. I mean, I see.
However, the first 2 games are Halo 3 and Assassin's Creed 2. Which is like, okay.
Well, yeah, but great games.
Great games in their own right. But we've had, 17 Assassin's Creed since that?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, I think what is putting people off about that is because, look at PlayStation Plus right now. I mean, you've got 3 brand new, not brand new, but very recent games.
But recent games just
this
released on PlayStation Plus. Now you can download Uncharted 3s.
Yep. Little Big Planet
Karting, which is fantastic. It's a whole new word. I'm addicted to that game horribly. And XCOM Enemy Unknown,
which is an excellent game.
And it's like those games right there are.
That's last year.
Well,
Uncharted was the year.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
They're still relatively newish.
What I'm trying to say, Microsoft, is up your game.
Yeah. But the week before, we got Deus Ex Human Evolution.
Yeah. Oh, it's still on there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
You can still download it. You still have the option to get it. And here's the other thing. When you download them, they're still there. If you delete them from your system, you can go back into your download
As long as you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber. Yeah, you gotta keep that up.
Yeah, you have to keep that up, which is fine, which we'll get to a point about that here very shortly. But.
Yeah, we got kind of sidetracked.
Yeah, a little bit. But, Xbox One, $500.
Yes.
Okay? We already know about all of the online restrictions, about how you have to connect within 24 hours or your Xbox One is basically dead. How you have to, use game restrictions.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm still very confused.
That's very... Yeah.
I'm still very confused with how all that's going to work out.
You can do it, but the developer has to give you their written consent, and you have to give them a blood sample. But yeah, you got to do. I don't understand the
so many hoops in order to share a game.
Yeah, you can share with your friends, but they have to.
But they have to be your friends for 30 days.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I mean, there's so many things.
I think they're trying to make it so incredibly complicated that you just forget it.
Well, I know, right?
I don't even care.
Just no, not even going to do it.
Because if I give it to you, then I've got to send a monkey into space or something. I don't know.
You got to drill for oil for 4 hours. And then if I don't get any, you can't borrow it. Anyway, did you hear about the thing that was released this week, though? After the press conference. Do you remember the Red Ring of Death?
Oh, yeah.
I hate bringing it up because everybody's like, why does everybody always talk about the Red Ring of Death? Because it was a big deal. It was a big deal. Remember all the class action lawsuits that happened?
Oh, yeah. And all of the replacements that had to be given, and extended warranties. And
in order for you to sign on to your Xbox One, there is a terms of service agreement that you have to agree to. That terms of service agreement does not allow is a class action lawsuit waiver.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Yeah. I thought you were talking about that they were having problems with the fail rate.
Well, yeah, I think the current rumor is they went through 6 before the press conference. Just burned up. Just absolutely burned up. Because they couldn't get it to keep consistency.
And now, once you buy it, you got to be like, no, I won't tell it. I won't.
I will never do anything wrong towards Microsoft ever. But now, the other thing is it's in, if you're in certain countries like Poland or Japan, you're not even going to be able to buy one on launch day. They're not coming out in those countries, probably because the internet's not so great.
Right.
Well, not in Japan.
And that goes back to something else that you and I were talking about before, and I'll try to make this quick.
Virus database has been updated.
That goes back to something else that you and I... You're going to make more cuts this time. All right, you ready?
Yep.
That goes back to something else that you and I were talking about before, too, that soldiers in third world countries that have these Xboxes and play video games in their downtime, that's what they do. That's what I did, and they're not going to be able to do that.
I know lots of people that do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because of the infrastructure of the internet capabilities on the Xbox 360, that's why they did that stuff.
Right.
And now it's not even going to be an option.
No.
So, Kiki.
But yes.
Kiki. Sony. Or no. Sorry. Kiki, Microsoft, Kicker, Sony.
Every chance they had.
Every single chance. No use game restrictions?
Nope. They actually have a video out. Check that out. That is funny. I'm not even going to tell you what happens in it.
No. It's probably one of the greatest marketing videos I've ever seen.
It's
awesome. It wasn't even intentional. It was like, they were like, here's this. Ta-da.
Yeah, that wasn't their big thing.
It's like
either.
They did it that day.
Yeah. Yeah, that was done behind the curtain.
Yeah.
But
no online restrictions, which means if you don't connect to the internet within 24 hours, guess what?
You can still play your games.
You can still play your games. Bad thing. Okay.
Okay.
Now, admittedly, this is a bad thing for some people. It's not really for me.
Right.
You have to have PlayStation Plus in order to play online multiplayer. But you get all the continued benefits of PlayStation Plus: free games, discounts, beta access, wallpapers, avatars, blah 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 blah. But Netflix, Hulu, and all of those
your video streaming services are all still free.
Are still
no
free.
Membership.
Free, yeah.
So,
and I mean, and also games like DC Universe Online, which are free to play, are still free to play. You do not have to have PlayStation
That's
Plus.
Awesome. I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah. You do not have to have PlayStation Plus in order to play the free to play games. So, I mean, a lot of people are bitching about PlayStation Plus being a requirement now.
Well, who didn't know that was going to happen? That's my thing.
Even though.
I always thought that they were missing out. Yes, because everybody was paying for Xbox Live anyway.
Right. The price isn't going up on PlayStation Plus. And you're going to get all this great stuff and be able to play hopefully, and I say hopefully because I don't want to say that their system is going to be better or anything like that, but I say hopefully on a better infrastructure for online multiplayer. And we're getting cross-game chat. I know
finally, that's a big one for me.
I know, but I mean, they said in the beginning when everybody was like, hey, we want cross-game chat on PlayStation 3. They're like, that's a hardware issue. It's not a software issue. They said, we will do it on the next one.
Well, I mean, what I'm seeing...
And they did. So
what I'm seeing with PlayStation Plus is, or what I see, is that they're keeping their core service that they've already got intact, which is good, because it's a good service.
Yeah.
But they're adding all of the things that has helped propel Microsoft and Xbox Live into the leading paid service.
Right.
And I'm fine with that.
I am too.
I
don't see anybody, I don't see any viable reason to be upset about it. You know, I mean, in all honesty.
There are a lot of people out there that say they play PlayStation just because they can play games online for free. That's fine.
That's fine.
But when the market has already been halfway that anyway,
right.
And it just seemed like it was going to happen anyway. Right. That Sony was going to follow suit.
And this way, it's not going to cost you any more.
Right.
And I mean, it's still fine. And speaking of price points, Sony announced that it's going to be released this year.
Yes.
They still do not officially give a month, but I anticipate October, November.
Well, according to E3, I would probably say October, because it's just one more way to kick Microsoft in the junk.
But the biggest one, how much do you think it is?
I know how much it is. It's $3.99.
$3.99!
When that came over, when I was watching the press conference, I was like, could they, like, that was the moment that I knew that they were just trying to just pound Microsoft into submission. They were like, we got this. And I've been saying this for a while now. Microsoft and Xbox One isn't going anywhere. It's going to be a viable platform. It's going to be a good system. But Sony really took this E3 to the next level.
I was having a conversation with the tech guy for the podcast earlier, and he said that the Xbox One is actually the Xbox 1%. Because you have to have a certain speed on your internet in order to make it work. You have to be in this location to make it work, and all this and that. And I was like,
you have to say an incantation above it.
Yeah. Nick 2, clap 2, Nick.
Whatever.
Damn. Xbox isn't going to work. But, then of course you had everybody jumping out and being like, oh, but you don't get the camera with the PlayStation 4.
Who wants
the camera? But even if you do want the camera, it's only $60.
Right. So you're still at a lower price point.
Yeah. But if you do everything that the Xbox One does compared to the PS4, which is the stronger system, technically,
by a slight margin.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not saying it's like, Power of Grayskull or anything. But you're still $50 cheaper getting the PS4 to be exactly like the Xbox One, including membership.
Yeah.
$50 cheaper. Why would you not?
Oh, I'm going to.
I know.
I'm going to have both. But
well, so will I, but I'm just saying, as a general consensus, why would you rush out? I mean, I know Halo fans are there, but you're not getting one on launch day. I know that people are going to want Titanfall, but you're not going to get that on launch day. I know inevitably there will be a new Gears game, and people will want that, but you're not going to get that on launch day. So wait until Microsoft says, hey, it's been 6 months.
You can get Rise.
Yeah. Wow. And according to the Amazon Facebook vote, which I know is like, oh, I believe in online voting. But according to the Facebook vote, I think the public has spoken
loudly.
Pretty loudly.
They're screaming.
Which one that they're favoring right now.
Ooh, yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah. So I'm going to give the numbers, and then you give which one you think is which. I mean, I know that you know, but let's play the game. So 19,855 as of this recording versus 1,144.
Oh, you know what? Go look it up.
Yeah.
Go look it up.
You know what? I'll tell you. The 1,144 is smaller than the PSP. So, I think that's it. So, all in all, to let you know, because I can't leave them hanging, PS4, 19,000
right
plus.
Yeah,
and the
I'm
Xbox
sure you
One.
all figured that one out.
If you didn't, then maybe you shouldn't be watching the show.
But all in all, I mean, it was probably...
It was a good year.
It was a great E3. I mean, with the new consoles launching, with a ton of games lined up, and with the most impressive visuals we've ever seen.
Right. I'm going to shock you, though.
Okay.
Of the conferences, Sony's conference, great for consumers. Microsoft's conference, great for gamers. It really was. They showed off a lot of games, and they had a lot of things that were really good for gaming as a whole.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, Sony's conference was fantastic for consumers, though.
It was. Well, I think Microsoft's conference was a great follow-up conference to make up for the lackluster reveal that they had for their console.
Yeah.
You know, it was all about the games as well. It had to be. I mean, they didn't have a choice.
There was no choice. There was no option. There was no way to get around.
And Sony did it the other way.
Yeah.
Not entirely.
Well, I mean, February is a long time ago.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, all things considered. So, I mean, I would have liked to have seen a better balance of games from Sony. But Sony knew what they had to answer. They knew what they had to reveal. And they did all of that except the month. That was the only thing that I wish that we knew now. Because I need to know how much my wallet is going to hurt and when.
Yeah. My plan is to go ahead and just pre-order them both.
Yeah.
Very, very soon.
Which I recommend doing fairly soon.
Well, if you want it on launch day, if you're going to a typical retailer, just go pre-order it and use it like a layaway. That's what I've always done.
I would almost be willing to bet that Walmart will be fine.
Probably. Yeah. But, whatever.
But I do think that that's probably all the time that we have for this E3 podcast. I've been your host, Matt.
And Josh.
Be sure to check out Cheat Code Central for all the latest gaming news, reviews, previews, and videos. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube channel more so than what you are right now by watching our lovely podcast for our video coverage, therealcheatcc.com, and Facebook. We're on Facebook and Twitter and other places. So be sure to turn in next week. We will have more, but probably not as much as you want.
We will have more, though.